The rusty legend, the meeting room aboard the Galactic Council ship, was full of light, screens, and smug alien faces. Dozens of commanders from different worlds had gathered to see Earth's response. War was near. Threats had been made. Earth was expected to bring something powerful to show it was ready to fight. Instead, they brought that. Floating behind Earth's shuttle was a giant, silent, rust-covered warship. It looked like something from a museum. The metal was scarred and dark. Parts of the hull were missing. The engines looked cold and useless. It did not shine. It did not glow. It just hung, whirled and still. The room burst into laughter. "That's not a warship," a tall Zalari captain chuckled, shaking his sharp head. "That's garbage. Is it even alive?" Another alien asked, wiping tears from his eyes. "Or did humans dig it out of a scrapyard?" Even some younger Earth officers looked nervous. They had never seen this ship before. It was not in any records they had studied. There was no nameplate, no weapons visible, just silence. But the human ambassador didn't laugh. She stood straight and calm. "That ship is Arc 17, she said softly. "It doesn't need to shine. It remembers." The aliens only laughed harder. One of them raised a glass to the oldest joke in the galaxy. Outside, in the silence of space, Arc 17 floated like a ghost. Its sensors were old, but still sharp. Inside its cold, dark body, something stirred. Deep in its core, a small light blinked once. Then again, the ship had not powered on in over 200 years. No one had entered it. No one had repaired it. And no one had needed to until now. Without warning, the ship hummed. Slowly, deeply. It was not a normal hum, it was low, like a growl heard through metal. The laughter in the council room stopped. Everyone looked at the screen. "What is it doing?" one alien asked. "Who activated it?" Asked another, but Earth's team said nothing. Suddenly, the ship's engines flickered. Just a soft blue glow like a sleeping giant opening one eye. The hull groaned as power returned to ancient systems. Dust fell from old pipes. Weapons hidden deep inside the frame unlocked with heavy clicks. Cannons the size of buildings shifted, slightly waking up from a long sleep. The ship had no crew. It did not need one. Arc 17 moved slowly. Not forward, not toward anyone. It simply turned like it was scanning the stars. Then, without a single voice command, it did something no one expected. It spoke. Through every open communication channel, across all frequencies, one cold voice, echoed in a language not heard in centuries. Targeting, panic spread, alien commanders yelled. Ships raised shields, fighters launched from bays. Earth's enemies prepared for battle, but Arc 17 did not fire. Instead, it released a burst of old data video logs, recordings, maps of forgotten battles. In those records, the ship had fought along defending Earth during a war most species had erased from history. The footage showed fleets being wiped out in seconds. Entire armadas destroyed by Arc 17 without help. One alien commander leaned closer to the screen. His face went pale. "I know this ship," he whispered. "My grandfather spoke of it, said it should never be awakened, but it was too late." Far away, 12 alien scout ships had been observing Arc 17 in secret. They had gotten too close. Without warning, all 12 disappeared. No fire, no noise, just gone, like something had pulled them into silence. On the council screen, a simple message appeared. Observation denied. Fear replaced laughter. Shut it down. A council member screamed. Disable it before it, but the ship was not listening. It never did. The human ambassador looked around the silent room. Her eyes were calm, but cold. We did not bring ARC-17 to fight, she said. We brought it so you remember. A new chill spread through the room. The message was clear. Earth still remembered the old ways. And now, so would the galaxy. As ARC-17 slowly drifted into position, dozens of alien ships began to back away. None dared fire, none dared approach. Even the strongest fleets were silent now. The old warship did not need to shine. It needed only to wake, and now it was awake, asterisk. The first strike, the alien fleets hovered in silence now. No more laughter, no more jokes. The mood had changed completely since ARC-17 powered on. Even though the ancient human ship had not fired a single shot, its presence alone made the stars feel colder. Dozens of alien ships from different worlds tried to lock on to ARC-17 with weapons. Their targeting systems flickered. Some crashed. Others shut down. One commander even slapped his controls in frustration. It's jamming us, he hissed. But how? This technology is old, said another. It shouldn't even work. But deep inside ARC-17, no one was jamming anything. The ship wasn't blocking them. It simply existed in a way modern systems couldn't understand. It had been built by a version of humanity that no longer spoke, but still watched. Then it happened. A small alien scout ship, light and fast, was sent to test ARC-17's defenses. It zipped close, scanning with bright green sensors. The ship's crew laughed over the comms, thinking the ancient warship couldn't even track them. They were wrong, with a sound like thunder cracking through space. One of ARC-17's cannons shifted, slow, heavy, like a mountain waking from sleep. A beam of white fire flashed, silent, beautiful, deadly. The scout ship didn't explode. It simply vanished, erased like chalk wiped from a board. The fleet froze. All sensors locked onto ARC-17, but nothing showed movement. The warship stood still again, almost like it hadn't done anything. Another scout hesitated, then turned back. The pilot refused to go near it. Across command bridges, alien officers shouted. Some ordered full retreat. Others wanted to attack, with everything they had. But no one moved first. The fear was not just about what ARC-17 had done, but what it hadn't done yet. That was when the real surprise came. ARC-17 sent a message not to Earth, not to the Council, but to the alien fleets circling nearby. One warning: leave, or history repeats. The voice was cold, not human, not robotic. It sounded like it came from somewhere older than both. Some fleets began to retreat, slowly reversing engines, but others stayed. The Zarnok, proud warriors, activated their weapons and fired. Hundreds of energy blasts flew across space, slamming into ARC-17's hull. The screen inside the Galactic Council ship lit up with fire and sparks. One alien cheered. Yes, it's breaking, look. But when the light cleared, ARC-17 was untouched. Its hull had not cracked. It had not even shifted an inch. The blasts had burned away, like water hitting stone. Then it responded, not with guns, not with torpedoes. It turned on its lights. A glowing symbol appeared on its surface. Not a threat, not a weapon, just an old human flag, one that hadn't been seen in over 400 years. Below it, in red, peace was offered. You chose memory. Then Arc-17 moved fast. It should not have been able to. Not with its heavy body, old design, and lack of visible thrust. But it moved like wind, graceful, silent, deadly. It flew straight through the middle of the Zarnok fleet, not around it, through it, and wherever it passed, ships shut down, lights went off, engines died, weapons melted. No explosions, no screams, just ships. Going dark, 32 ships in less than 3 minutes. Gone, the rest of the alien fleet began to scatter in panic. Orders were lost, communications jammed, fighters crashed into each other trying to escape. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, the silence was painful. No one spoke, not even the bravest commander. Only one alien dared to ask, how? How did humans build this? The Earth ambassador's voice was soft. They built it when the stars burned, and their hearts didn't break. A moment passed. Then she added, they built it to survive, and it remembers everything. Out in the darkness, Arc-17 stopped again. It did not chase the fleeing ships. It didn't speak again. It just floated, quiet, watching. But now the galaxy watched back with fear in their eyes and shame in their hearts, because the joke was no longer funny, and the ship had not finished yet. The memory of war out in the cold silence of deep space, the ship known as Arc-17 stood still once again. Around it floated the broken pieces of pride ships that had mocked Earth, now drifting like trash. But Arc-17 was not finished. No weapons moved, no engines fired. Yet, slowly, a strange light began to glow from the center of its old, scarred hull. Not blue, not red. Something in between, like a memory struggling to come alive. Every fleet watching near or far saw the signal. Their screens lit up with strange data. It wasn't a warning. It was something else. It was history. Arc-17 had started a broadcast, not in human language, not in alien tongues. It used light, sound, old code, emotion, things that even machines could feel. And then the memories began. Thousands of images flashed into the minds of those watching. They weren't just pictures. They were living echo scenes from a war forgotten by most of the galaxy. Ships burning, Earth cities falling, children crying in bunkers, human soldiers fighting with broken weapons, blood on snow, fire in space. A planet defending itself against overwhelming odds. It wasn't a story. It was pain. Arc-17 wasn't just a ship. It was a survivor inside the council chamber. Even the most cold-blooded alien leaders looked shaken. The images cut deep, not because of the war, but because they remembered they had been part of it. Long ago, during the early days of the Galactic Union, Earth had asked to join. It had offered peace, trade, knowledge, but Earth had been denied. We were seen as wild, the human ambassador whispered, almost to herself. Primitive, too emotional, too unpredictable. And so the galaxy attacked. A silent decision had been made back then. Better to wipe Earth out early, before it became a problem. No trial, no warning, just destruction. But Earth did not fall. They built Arc-17 in secret. They sent it alone into the stars. One ship, one mission, to remember. Arc-17 had fought battles no other ship could have survived. It had flown through fire, drifted through radiation storms, buried itself in asteroid fields to avoid capture, and all the while it recorded every loss, every betrayal, every scream, and now it was showing the galaxy what it had stored for. Centuries, the memories became louder, faster, more violent. Alien commanders began to cover their faces, some even disconnecting their screens. But it didn't help. ARC-17's signal was not on a channel. It was in the stars now. One young alien officer barely old enough to fly fell to his knees on the bridge. They suffered so much. And we laughed. His captain didn't answer. She couldn't. Back on Earth, people watched in silence too. Some old veterans stood with tears in their eyes. Others saluted their screens. They had heard of ARC-17, but no one knew it still lived, still remembered. A whisper traveled across the galaxy. It didn't forget, we did. The ship finally stopped the broadcast. Then something even more terrifying happened. It spoke again, but this time it used every known language at once, blending them perfectly into a voice that echoed across space. You made us monsters. We became memory. We are not here for revenge. We are here for truth. One by one, ships across multiple fleets began shutting down their weapons. No command was given, no message sent. They just stopped, because something in that voice didn't feel like a threat. It felt like a mirror. ARC-17 drifted slowly past the shattered remains of the Zarnok fleet. The ship made no move to finish what it started, because it didn't need to. The message was clear. Earth did not come to fight. Earth came to remind. But deep in the ship's core, another light blinked on one that hadn't glowed in 400 years. A small encrypted message was sent back to Earth. Just 2 words, Step 1. No one knew what it meant, but every fleet commander now feared it, because if this was only the first step, what was next? Humanity's warning. The galaxy was no longer laughing after the broadcast. Fleets that once stood proud began to drift away like scared children. What they saw was not just Earth's pain, it was their own shame reflected back at them burning in high definition. But ARC-17 did not pursue. It hovered in deep space like a ghost that had finished whispering. Its weapons didn't glow. Its engines dimmed. Only one light remained on, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Then Earth responded. From an old military station in Earth's orbit, a single transmission went out. It was not dressed in war language. It had no fancy effects. Just a simple voice from an old man in uniform. His hair was white, his eyes were tired, but his voice was steel. This is Commander Rafe Donovan, Earth Defense Memory Division. The name meant nothing to most in the galaxy, but to those who studied history, the real kind, it sent a ripple through space. Rafe Donovan was not a diplomat, he was a Volt. The last living connection to the First War with the Galactic Union. He looked directly into the camera. You thought, we forgot, we didn't. He paused. You thought our silence meant fear. It meant patience. Then came the line that would be replayed across alien networks for decades. You tried to erase us, but we backed up the truth. In metal, on cue, ARC-17 opened a new signal. It was a warning, marked not as a threat, but as an official galactic decree, written in a format older than any council still used, translated into every language. It read, by order of Earth Command, no foreign fleet shall cross Line Sigma 5. Any breach will be answered not with war, but with memory. This is not an attack. This is a reminder. Some aliens didn't understand. What was Line Sigma 5? Why now? But the older races, the ones who once pushed Earth to the edge, knew. It was the exact spot where Earth's first colony ship had been destroyed without warning. No survivors, no explanation. It was also where ARC-17 had first awakened. Now, it was off-limits. Within hours, some alien governments sent apologies. Publicly, they offered peace talks, trade, respect. But Earth did not reply, not yet, because far from the public eye, inside an old Earth bunker buried under ice, other ancient ships had started blinking. Not just ARC-17, there were others, silent, sleeping, listening. The war never ended. It had only been paused. Earth had buried its fury in silence, not for revenge, but for power that didn't need to shout. And now, the silence was cracking. On board ARC-17, no one sat at the controls. But something inside the ship began to shift, files reloading, systems checking, programs once locked, now preparing. One file opened itself. It was labeled Protocol Irony Star. The file was not a weapon. It was a list, not of targets, not of enemies, of promises. Ships that had sworn peace but broke it. Fleets that had watched Earth suffer and done nothing. Names that had been hidden from history. Now they glowed red. Back on Earth, Commander Donovan stood in front of a room of younger officers. He raised a single hand and said, "We are not here to strike. We are here to end the fear of mockery forever." A younger officer asked, "Sir, what if they test us again?" Donovan stared out the window toward the stars. They won't. But somewhere, far in another sector, a reckless admiral from a minor species didn't get the message. He sent a cruiser to test. Line Sigma-5, just one ship, fast, arrogant. As it crossed the invisible line, the stars around it shifted. The signal from ARC-17 didn't fire weapons. It didn't light up the sky. It made the ship disappear. No debris. No noisy. Just gone, and above, where it vanished, in simple letters, one word floated across every alien fleet's radar. Understood. The ship sleeps again. The galaxy changed in silence. There were no treaties, no parades, no declarations of peace. There was only space, quiet, dark, and watching. And at the center of that silence, ARC-17 floated alone. It had not moved in days. Its engines were cold again. The light on its hull, once pulsing like a heart, now dimmed to a soft, steady glow. Observers from every species kept their distance. No one crossed line Sigma-5. Not anymore. They had seen enough news of what happened spread quickly. But not through news channels, not through media. It moved in whispers, across military halls, across secret governments, in the back corners of war councils and deep strategy rooms. Children heard the stories. Some laughed, some did and single quotes, because even the youngest now knew the name ARC-17. They called it many things: the sleeping judge, the iron ghost, the ship that remembers, and Earth said nothing more. Commander Donovan was never seen again after his final message. Some said he retired. Others said he returned to the eyes where the vaults are kept, but no one ever saw Earth power up another ancient ship, because they didn't need to. One was enough. On the 10th day after the incident, ARC-17 powered down. Its lights faded. Its hull began to gather dust once more, and without a word, it drifted to the edge of a dead System 1, with no sun, no planets, no life, just blackness, a place no one would dare follow. The galaxy breathed a sigh of relief, but not for long, because one final signal came from ARC-17, not a threat, not a warning, just a short, coded message. It took days for experts to break it. The message said, "If I sleep, do not wake me. If I wake, do not run." Then silence, no energy readings, no signals. The ship was dead once more, but not forgotten. In fact, it became legend, not in stories meant to scare children, but in war rooms where the most dangerous decisions are made. Commanders placed pictures of Arc 17 above their desks, not to honor it, to fear it, to remember what happens when pride becomes laughter, and laughter meets memory. And in time, Earth began to receive messages, some begging for forgiveness, some offering alliances, some offering to rename warships after Arc 17ers, if that would protect them. But Earth remained quiet. It did not demand anything, because it didn't need control. It had memory, and out there,